Hello makers and welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial we've brought you this knit look ribbed crop cardigan which can be adjusted to any size if this is too crop for you. It's all about the number of the beginning chain. We do have a free written pattern available which is available in 9 different sizes. You will find the link to that in the description box below. Before we go any further, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. For the materials, you'll also find those in the description box below. Let's get into it. So hold on just a second before we go any further. 2022 is just around the corner. How about you start selling your patterns on Etsy and make a few coins, Join with my link in the description box below for free and get 40 free listings. So to begin with on this cardigan, you're going to grab your yarn and your 5.0mm hook. And you're going to begin by making a slip knot. So since we're making a size small for this tutorial, I'm going to chain 71, which is how many you also want to chain for your size small. If you're making a larger size, you want to refer to the written pattern to see how many you have to chain. So I'm going to go in and chain 71 off camera, and I will meet you once I am back. So I just finished chaining 71. And now we're gonna go into the first 10 stitches placing single crochets. Just like that. Insert your hook, pull through, and just like that. So we're gonna do this for a total of 10 chains. And you wanna make sure your stitch marker is somewhat close. And 10. There we go. Gonna grab my stitch marker and place it in there. To be honest, for this pattern the stitch marker won't be as necessary, but it's great to have it close just for in case. But after here you're gonna see why I'm saying that it won't be as necessary. So from here on we're gonna go on the rest of the chain placing half double crochets. So just rounding over, insert your hook into that loop and pull through all 3, just like that. So you're gonna go on placing these half double crochets all the way to the last one, and I will meet you once you're working on that last one so that we can begin row 2 together. So I've just finished the first row. To begin row 2 you're gonna do a chain up of 1 and turn your work. Now for the next 3 rows we're gonna do slip stitches all the way down, just like that. So you're gonna slip stitch and into the back loops only. You're gonna slip stitch going all the way down. After you reach the end you chain 1, slip stitch your way back up and then down again for a total of 3 rows, and I will meet you right after that, just like that. So you go on doing that, pause the video, and I will meet you once you are done with those 3 rows. So after 4 rows this is what your work should be looking like, and now it's time to get started on the 5th row. So the entire cardigan will comprise of a repetition of these 4 rows. So now you're going to understand why I say you don't entirely need that stitch marker, since we have 3 entire rows of just going back and forth with the slip stitch. But now to begin row 5, which is just a repetition of row 1, we're going to go into 10 stitches with single crochets. And 10, just like that. And for the rest we're gonna go in with half double crochets, just like we did row 1. And then after we're done with the half double crochets, we're gonna do 3 rows of slip stitches and then back to a row of half double crochets and then 3 rows of slip stitches, just like that. And this is what your work so far should be looking like. So for size small, you're gonna continue doing this, working, repeating the 4 rows up until you have 65 rows, and that's for the back portion. So pause the video, go on, continue doing that until you have 65 rows, and I will meet you after you have your 65 rows. So after you're done with your 65 rows, this is what your work should be looking like. I can't seem to get the whole thing to fit in one frame, but this is what your work should be looking like. And if I pull it down, you're going to see that the bottom is kind of curving in, not too much, just enough to show that it's the bottom band, and just like that. So to work the 2 front panels, you're going to do the very same thing. You're going to do the exact same thing, just that you're going to do it for 29 rows. So I've already done one portion for the front, and it's gonna lay there like that. Currently I'm working on the other side's portion, so you're gonna go on and you're gonna make 2 of these. So do that, go and do that, and I'll meet you once you're done, so that we can start working on the arms. We can connect them at the shoulders and the sides, and then we can start working on the sleeves. So for the sleeve, I did a total of 49 rows across, and I did a chain of 75 instead of 71. It would have been a bit longer. I would advise you to make yours a bit longer. Don't do what I did. So in the written pattern, it's definitely going to be a bit longer than this is, but then at the same time, it can be different for everyone. So you can just measure your arm to see how long you want your sleeves to be. So you want to do that. You're going to make 2 panels, and after you're done, you want to leave chain 1 and cut, but leave a long tail enough so that we can sew this onto the body properly. So go on and do that. Pause the video, and I will meet you once you're done with your sleeves. So now I've brought the back panel and the 2 front panels that we're about to connect together, to sew together. So you want to make sure the right sides, which are these ribbed sides, are facing each other. Just like that. You can lay it down with a stitch marker if you wish, or you don't have to. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to go over the tops and sew them together with your yarn needle. I'm going to use a 4mm crochet hook, since I will be taking this apart to work on future projects. So you do that. Just grab your yarn needle and sew this, close the shoulders, and I'll meet you once we're done, so that we can now close the sleeves. So to connect the sleeve, what you're going to do, you're going to grab your sleeve and fold it in half, and then you're going to place a stitch marker right at the half place, the half mark, and then you're going to have the right sides facing each other like this, and you're going to connect the center of the sleeve to the center where we just seamed the shoulder portion right here with your stitch marker. After you've done that, you want to grab your sleeve, fold it over the side like that, and now you want to connect the sleeve now from here going on all the way until here. After, I will meet you once you've connected, once you've sewn this part. I'm just going to sew mine, and I'll meet you once we're done there. So I've just finished connecting my sleeve. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fold it now so that the right sides are still facing each other, and I'm still working with the wrong side, just like this. And now I'm gonna seam closing the whole sleeve and this side all the way to the end. So you want to do that for both sides. After you're done, you want to close the body, the front panel, you want to close it to the back panel as well. So do that, and I'll meet you once you're done, so that we can now start working on the collar. So now I'm done connecting both sleeves, seaming the sides. We're about to get started on the collar. So I've already done this, but you're gonna go around placing single crochets all the way around your collar, the other side, until you reach the end, and then we will get started on a row of working around the collar. We're going to be working the collar using a slip stitch. So you go on, place your rows of single crochets. So after you've gone around with your row of single crochets, you're going to switch to a 4mm hook so that we can make the ribbing as fine as we can. So I'm going to do 3 rows of slip stitches. I mean, you already know how to do slip stitches, so I can do that off camera. After I've done the 3 rows of slip stitches, I will meet you back so that we can allocate where we want our buttonholes to be. So you go on, work your 3 rows of slip stitches, and I'll meet you right back. So I have just finished going around with my 3 rows of slip stitches. Now we're about to figure out where we want our buttons to be. I've decided I'm going to want about 3 buttons for mine. So obviously one is going to be down here. So I'm just going to place a stitch marker where I want the first button to be. Another one would be around here. You can just do guesswork honestly for this, where you prefer your buttons to be. And finally around here. I mean, you don't even have to put buttons on it. If you don't want buttons, you can just continue to work your way up. You can just continue to work around placing the slip stitches. So I've done a chain one and I've turned the work. So now I'm going to continue going around with the slip stitches. So now I've reached the stitch marker. I'm going to do a chain of 3. So starting from the stitch marker, I'm going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3. Into the 4th, I will continue going with the slip stitches, just like that. So you're going to do the very same thing for the other stitch markers. Once you reach here, chain up of 3, then you count 1, 2, 3, and then into the 4th, continue, and you're going to do that all the way around. Once you're going back your way around, you're just going to work over the chain 3, doing your rows of slip stitches, and you're going to do another row, total of 3 rows on top of the 3 that we've already done. So you go on doing that. I'll meet you once I am done with my 6 rows. So I have finished going around with my 6 rows, and now we're about to connect the buttons. So I've connected 2, I've left 1. So I didn't remove the stitch markers so that we can see where we want the corresponding buttons to be. So all you're going to do is just pull it across so that you can just notice where you want your button to be, which is here. So depending on the kind of buttons you have, since my holes are just so small I can't fit a yarn needle in, I'm just using a sewing needle. So I'm just going to go in from underneath into another hole and pull up my thread. Then I'm going to find the corresponding hole, the opposite, and insert my hook, my needle, pull it from underneath. I'm going to find another hole. There we go. And pull it through, and then the opposite hole. So you're just going to go on repeating that until your button is nice and tight. And you know for sure that it won't be coming out again. That should be about enough for me. And you want to have your scissors close so you can just cut that off and we'll weave in the ends. So right about now we are actually done with our sweater. So I'm just going to weave in the ends of the yarns that I left at the other ends of the cardigan and clean it all up and nice, and then I'll put it on because we're done making our cardigan. I really hope that you enjoyed making this cardigan with me, guys, because I had such a great time making it. And be sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and share it to those who you know definitely will like it. I'll see you guys on the next tutorial. Bye for now.